Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Wrestling IQ 101. You can find us on YouTube. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. And today, I'm here with Derek and Pat.
What's up, guys?
And we are sitting with the elite athlete, Mike Orlando. How you doing?
I am doing great. Am I talking too loud?
Yeah, you're good. I
want to make sure
Also known as the Green Machine.
Green Machine. There we go. That's the TV version. Elite's being used by some people on TV. I don't know who they are, but I'm just kidding. But Green Machine TV.
I gotta ask you about that song though.
It's good, right?
Who sings it?
It's good. It's G-Eazy.
Okay.
And I have a friend. His name is Sanchez. He was like a little pop for him. His name is Sanchez Music, and he works under G-Eazy. He's like the intern of G-Eazy, and they work in Times Square together. Nice. I played football in college with him. He was my wide receiver. And hit me up maybe about 6 months ago and was like, you know what you're missing? I was like, what? He's like, a real person doing your song. Yeah. And at the time, I think my music was like Narcissistic Cannibal by Korn. And it was really awesome to come out to because everybody popped. But then I'd watch my stuff either on TV or online, and it would be like some generic music that they'd have to dub over it. And it was like, that's not what I'm, you know what I mean? So we actually went through with it. So it's G-Eazy and this guy named Sanchez. And G-Eazy only says, I believe, like the first two sentences of my song, but that's okay. He says the first two sentences and he walks out the room, gets his payday, but a lot of people do that nowadays. Okay. So he starts it, and so Sanchez finishes it, and I'm going to put it online somehow as soon as I get technologically advanced. Okay. And I'm going to get it online so people can kind of use. I think if I make a highlight video and I use it on the highlight video, people can kind of just extract it from that. Nice. If it is extract is the right word for that. I don't even know, but
that's how I get half my music. Kind of.
Yeah. There you go. You're not supposed to admit that.
I mean,
just kidding.
Just kidding, yeah.
That's funny. So, kind of tell us, how did you get started, like, with wrestling?
College football. I had these crazy ass. Am I allowed to say that? I had these crazy friends that were wrestling fans with me, and like we would just do like ridiculous stuff, man. Like we'd come running to the field. Now imagine, like I was 325 pounds, and like we'd come out offensive lineman, run into the field with like the World Heavyweight Championship and like the ECW title, and like we'd run to the field and like they'd have all our team logos on it and stuff that like we had medallions put and like stickers from our helmet put over the middle of the belt and everything. And it looked legit, and we'd run to the field like these guys, like psychos, and people were like, "What in the world are wrong?" And we thought we were the coolest guys in the world, but everybody else was like, "These guys are the dumbest people." But then we would kick your ass on the field, and it was like, "Whoa!" So one day, got in a huge argument with this kid and Billy, in the weight room about who was a real wrestler, who would be more successful type of deal. And like we're going back and forth, and he's cutting this Ultimate Warrior type promo on me and stuff. And then my coach was just like, "Both of you morons, if you want to wrestle so bad, get the hell out of my weight room, stop playing football, and go wrestle." And then both of us were just like, "Let's go do that. Let's go do that right now." So we figured out a place we can go, and we didn't quit football. We still played football because our coach kind of just pushed us to go do that on top of because we just talked a lot of shit. Yeah. So it was like, stop talking shit and go do it. And we were like, okay. Take the thumb out your ass and figure out how to do this now. So we kind of went and did it, and we found Old Time Wrestling in where is it? Glassboro, New Jersey. Oh, and that's by Jim Molyneux, ECW referee, and he ran an awesome program, man. He got my ass in the grid. I had such an ego, like honestly, from being a real athlete. Not that wrestling isn't a real sport, but being like a on the field athlete, captain of my team, and then being told to sweep a floor in the gym and not to step in the ring. It was like, well, how about I take this broom and smack you in the damn head with it? You know what I mean? But if I said that, it was just kind of get out the door. And I never had that in my life. I was so used to just putting my hand in the dirt, just going straight ahead and just being all the time, applauded. So now that was a whole reality check. I mean, he was a great, great mentor, and I stayed there for about 3 years, and then my partners quit. The guys I went there for my football team, they didn't last with me. But I was there alone. And then I started getting trained by John Trotsky of the Sanctuary. Supremely Great. He used to go by back in the day. You should know back in the day, Supremely Great. I don't know if you remember him. He had a ridiculous gimmick. It was because I am. Everything was the answer to everything. And he was good for a while. He is good still to this day. He runs the Sanctuary.
Yeah, but you were a big part of that.
Yeah, that's
I like the setup
home.
there.
It's beautiful. He's invested his entire life into that place. Right now we're fighting the athletic commission over a bunch of stuff right now. That's why it's called the Fake Stunt Studio, because they're making us call it that because it has a bunch of stupid regulations with the athletic commission trying to charge ridiculous money to have him run that place, but he runs it like a movie scene, a movie setup. It's not it's not open to the public. Here's a wrestling show. It's, hey guys, you're a crowd. You cheer when we tell you to cheer. You boo when we tell you to boo, because you're a live audience that we have on camera that we're letting in for free to be part of the show because that's what we need. It's not a wrestling show. It is a wrestling show, but it is. You see the setup. It's supposed to be
black.
Right.
They have like a little tight,
Titantron
above the ring, kind of courty, like behind it kind of thing.
Yep.
And it's like a cool stage and everything. It's almost like if NXT was on steroids, it's kind of like in between NXT and a regular indie show.
Like a Monday Night Raw old school.
Yeah.
Back in the day setup. And then he invests so much time and money into the production. Everything's put on live instantly. So while it's going, so when you're done wrestling, you have your match in the back to watch already, be critiqued by all these guys that actually care.
It's crazy.
And then you have the athletic commission coming in when he's not making a dime off of that and coming in and being like, hey, give us 50% of what you made today. Where's your doctor? Where's the ambulance? And it's like, dude, do you understand? I tell him don't throw a punch in the match, and he doesn't throw a punch in the match. And then next match, maybe the punch is the big finish of the match. It's not a wrestling show where you see 35, 450s and all this crazy stuff. We don't need the doctor. We tell stories. We have a guy at one point that we're fighting over a broom. Not a broom.
They're almost secondary matches.
Right. Exactly. It's a story. And this guy invests his life, and he's a real actor as well. And he's in the Screen Actors Guild and has a Screen Actors Guild director. I forget his name. Of the Crosby, off the top of my head, I believe that's his name. And he runs it with him. So this place is ran off a script. And we're told, he gets in, he's like, hey, you're going to finish your match with a boot to the face. And the whole time you're going to swing your boot at this guy, and he's going to avoid it. And eventually when you get him, bam, the match is over. And that's the story we're telling. And that there is no if and buts, anything to it. So it's that really upsets me with that. That's why they're struggling to keep above, water right now, because the athletic commission is really going on him.
So let me ask you a question. Because a lot of wrestlers, they just train to wrestle.
Right.
Like CM Punk, he trained to wrestle. Even he said this in his video, that he had a hard time wrestling for the camera. Does this help you kind of start wrestling for the camera? Because absolutely. A lot of shows you go to, they just tape that one angle, or maybe you have two, like one guy with a core, So is this helping you?
100%. And people don't realize that.
They're helping with your facial expressions. You take acting classes for that?
And then I go upstairs, and this man looks at me, and he's like, yeah, you're this looked great, or that looked great, or this looked great. Let me tell you, man, when you got kicked in the face, you looked like garbage.
Oh, yeah?
You know what I'm saying? It's like, what do you mean? It's like, the camera zoomed in at that very second of your face, and you looked right at it, and you had no expression.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, man. And I'm like, you see that, and it's like, it didn't matter what 25 moves you just pulled off perfectly. Yeah, the little things in between is what you're going to be judged on, and he understands that. And, for people to say, oh, he should be giving us money, this, that, and third. He's giving wrestlers such a good opportunity to step onto things, and that's what I did with him. I stepped onto him in the way of, I was just like, hey, help me with whatever you can help me, and he's helped me for 2 years now. And now I've been back. I've been at the Monster Factory for about a year now, and that was to get out of the habits that I needed to fix and get into the perfect method of TV wrestling. I want to be in the WWE ASAP. So it's or any wrestling promotion, be contracted for it. And that was the step I had to take to get there. But it took me going to different schools and then meeting John for him to be like, yo, dude, okay, I taught you everything I could teach you. This place will always be here for you to learn at. Now you need to go to the next guy. And that's the circle of things that wrestlers don't realize. You say you train to wrestle. Do you really train to wrestle, or are you just wrestling because you want to say you're a wrestler? You know what I mean? There's a big difference of having good matches or going to practice for 3 hours and doing 150 drop down and leapfrogs to the point you can't breathe anymore and you haven't done a single wrestling move yet. And you're like, well, on to the next thing, That's the difference with a lot of guys.
Have you thought about going to Pat Buck? Because he came from FCW and Ohio Valley. He knows kind of the farm system of WWE because he's been in there for such a long time. You ever look to a guy like him and see, what are they looking for? How?
Yeah, a million times. I picked his brain a million times. He's an awesome, awesome guy to have in any locker room, or to even pick his brain anywhere. He's just so smart. And I've had a match with him at Superkick, actually. I wrestled against him. He wrestled as some Hollywood Hogan crazy. When we did the super kick thing, we had to actually play whatever they said to play. And that's the beauty of wrestling. It's just go out there, have fun, So that's when I played the Jesus character. Pat was Hollywood Hogan or whatever. And at one point, there was a spot in the match where everybody started doing dives, and it was a six-sided ring. And, I went on the top rope as Jesus to do a dive onto everybody. And, he comes behind me and points at me like Hogan and, pulls me down from the top rope and just takes me and, Undertaker dives me over the top. He picked me up and threw me over onto everybody. That was the dive spot. You know what I mean? And it was really so smart on his part. And, to me, as I was doing it, I was like, this is awesome. You know what I mean? And he just got the greatest brain for wrestling. I've spoken to him a million times. There's only so many things you could do, as far as, I train now at the Monster Factory. Their days are almost the same days as WrestlePro. Yeah. So for me to get there would be impossible at the same time as the factory. It's also about establishing relationships. Pat is really smart, and he helps so many people, but you have to invest into his product, which is totally understandable, and it's very smart. And he deserves that at this point. And if I can completely invest all my time into him, I can't be there and say, I'm going to take the advantage of having you as a friend and help me with whatever you know. But he knows so much, and he'll help me with anything I ask. And as far as training goes, if I ever have free time, I'll be there.
Yeah, and it's great because he has so many friends that are WWE superstars now that help his product. Kurt Hawkins, Ryback, Cody Rhodes, and all those guys are coming by your way too.
Yeah. What's today? This gets released, you said, next week? Right?
Yeah, probably.
Am I allowed to say?
Yeah,
that's cool.
Sure.
Okay, cool. So then we can talk about all those things. I was thinking about one of them hasn't been announced yet. That's the one I was like, I didn't know that already. But I guess we could. If it's
I saw a flyer.
It'll be by next week.
So you've had a long feuding relationship with Jay Santana.
yeah. Jay was a great mentor for me. He hasn't wrestled in so long, but he mentored me with so much stuff in the beginning of wrestling, and it was more of my attitude than anything else. It was just I was a hothead kid in college, and Jay would just come knocking on my door and just be like, "Hey, we're going to train." And I'd be sitting there as a college kid doing whatever I was doing, and be like, "No, I'm good." No. And he'd be like, "Get up," you know what I mean? I would always listen to him, and he got my ass in shape, man.
So, what are your thoughts? You've beaten the current TNA champ, Eddie Edwards, and you got to wrestle EC3. So, what are your thoughts now that you're I beat the TNA champ?
I should be TNA Heavyweight champion.
I think so.
I honestly got to this is no work. No joke. I swear, man. This is no work. It's no joke. I had a briefcase that had no contract liability written on that thing whatsoever that I legitimately won at the promotion before that it said, whoever the champion is in that building, in that promotion, that I had the right to challenge them for the championship.
Yeah, you should
not
be able
say
to
for one championship, did not say for just the dynasty. And this is a shoot, man. I'm being real. So when I came out with that briefcase, nobody knew. The wrestlers in the locker room had no idea. I stayed in my car, and shoot, honest to God, I stayed in my car till I heard the music of Eddie Edwards hit. And I ran out there with my briefcase, and everybody in the locker room was like, what in the F is going on right now? And no music hit, no anything. And I am always a heel, always a bad guy, as we call it. And I ran out there, and the crowd popped like Ziggler for half a second. And I was like, this is amazing right now. And by the time I hit that ring, I've never been berated by people in my life. Get the F out! Don't you get in there! And I was just like, you guys just loved me 2 minutes ago. So I came, hit him with the briefcase, and hit him with my finish, and he kicks out. And I'm like, oh my God. So I go for something else, and he gets out of it, and somehow I hit my finish in the blue again and pinned him 1, 2, 3. First belt I ran over to was the TNA title. I just grabbed it and was like, yes. And then I grabbed the other title as well, which I'm really happy to have, and that's the Dynasty title. But I had them in my hand, and this referee comes over, this fat punk, and he's just trying to pull the TNA title away from me. I was like, first off, you don't even have TNA written on your shirt, so you get away from me. And I pushed him to shoot right off of me, held the title, and Eddie Edwards is on the floor looking at me like dazed, like what in the F is happening right now? And I'm holding the belts, and yeah, there's an announcement comes on that I only won the Dynasty title and not the TNA Heavyweight title. And I don't see how in the world that works. I pinned him a bell rang. They said the championship is on the line, and then 1, 2, 3, shoot, pinned him, got in the back. Everybody's cheering for me, and I'm just like, dude, I've never been berated in my life.
The
CZW crowd somehow travel to Albany, New York. They shoot, dude. There was a section of all CZW people, and I come out of CZW as a baby face. And, yeah, those guys. I'm just like, let's go, and they're like, you, and I'm just like, okay, man, this is great, really, really cool, and you can't get them to support me, so they somehow traveled to Albany for that show, and had no idea I was there. So when I popped, they were like, yeah. Wait a minute, what is he doing? And then that happened, and they were, oh my god, dude, people threw streamers, and people were pulling the streamers from under, like, the ring back into the crowd. I was like, this is great.
Nice. That's nice reaction.
Great.
I was,
I think it's on video somewhere.
I was gonna ask you, like, what was when you caught them? Because I heard about the show in Queens where you caught, like, a ton of heat in, like, was it LA Boom? Yeah.
Boom, that was bad. That was really bad. It was bad. I wrestled at a Lucha Libre show, and I play like Gringo Loco. I'm the white guy, and that's literally the shoot name. And like, I play in a group. I say play. That's the stunt studio talking to me. I wrestle in a group that we come out and basically talk to an all Spanish crowd, which I've never wrestled in front of crowds like that because it's 1,500 Spanish people that don't understand what I'm saying, and maybe 500 of them understand it, and the other 1,000 have no clue. And then I'm going to the ring to Born in the USA, and they're like, okay, what's going on? Then we start cutting a promo, and I speak. I'm bilingual, so I start going off in Spanish, and then going off in English, and I'm literally watching these people tweaking. And it was just, I won my match, and then by the time my bell hit, I popped up and went like this to the crowd, dude, shoot honest, and the guardrails fell. And all of these Spanish people hit the ring and started pulling on the ropes, and I got hit with bags of churros and popcorn and beer cans. Dude, I'm not kidding. I got welted with beer cans in the side of the head. And at first, like, I was welcoming it because I was like, oh, okay, security's going to come. Let me just be me and get this heat and enjoy this moment. Until I saw, like, the camera guy getting, like, fucking toppled, man. Like, and I'm just in the ring, and I'm like, nobody's coming, dude, honest to God. And I just booked it, took out of the ring, and just started running. And as I'm running back into the locker room, they just swarmed, like, behind me. And, like, we closed the locker room door, and they're kicking the locker room and kicking. They're like, what did you say to him? I was like, I don't know. Like, I had no idea what was going on. And they settled down, went back to their seats. That wasn't the main event. And they ruined the ring. They absolutely that was Pat Buck's ring.
Oh, yeah.
And it was his rental ring, and he actually stopped renting it to them after this show. And I apologize. I had no idea they were going to do that. Like, we had no, like, think about that. Every wrestling shows you go to that the ring gets stormed like that, and you're like, what in the world? I've never been in that position. So I ran away. So then I'm sitting in the back. I'm taking my boots off, and dude, this is the shoot truth, man. And the promoter comes over to me. He's like, that was great. I was like, yeah, no problem, man, no problem. He's like, yeah, can you don't take your boots off. I'm like, why? You're gonna, okay, close the door. I'm like, oh my God. What's going on? He's like, you're gonna go back out there and screw Jigsaw out of the championship, and he's gonna lose. Nice. And I was like, I don't know. No, you're gonna go out there and screw Jigsaw. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, dude, did you just see what happened out there the second I hit the ring? No, we'll have everybody tell you. We're gonna go warn them and tell them if they get out of their seats and act rowdy, or we'll shut the show down. Okay, man, no problem. Put my stuff back on. Match with Jigsaw comes on. I come out. Jigsaw loses. Dude, it was just like World War 15 at this point because they just came like whoosh, swarming the ring again. And at this point, I just knew nobody was helping me, and I took off through the back door, and I was back there. And by the time I got back there, shoot truth, the promoter had my stuff wrapped up already. Oh, come on, go, get out the back door, here, come on, people. And they had to take me and rush me out of the building to my car and get me out of there while those people were wilding out by the door so I could get to my car.
That's funny. That sounds great.
My heart was a million miles an hour, and then, like, I was like, oh my God. And we drove maybe about 45 minutes, and finally I got a Facebook notification. Evan Ginsberg posted an article, and Evan Ginsberg's a big friend of mine for years now. I don't know if you guys know who he is. He was a co-producer on The Wrestler, and he runs a show in Long Island, New York. And he had me on many times. He came to the show. In 45 minutes, he did like a review of the show, and he was just like, I saw the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, oh my God, I did it. Like, I just did something awesome. You know what I mean? And like, I did nothing, man. I spoke truth, man. I said nothing disrespectful in the promo. I think I spoke with my college credentials. And then I think I said that, and the greatest part about my college credentials is that I won't ever pay a dime because I played football. While you guys are not even going to kind of like something on that line. And I think it was so simple, man.
Imagine if you were a Trump supporter.
I did drop Trump. I did drop Trump at that, but at that point, I think it was so early in the election. I don't think anybody took him serious. I don't think anybody knew what was coming yet. You know what I mean? But
anybody could guess that.
That's pretty sick.
It was cool.
Like,
It's a great story.
I know. CM Punk, I know he used to love stuff.
I did
like
like
that.
it. I did until I went to the Dunkin' Donuts and I saw one of them. They were like, "Mommy." I'm like, oh,
that crazy guy.
Yeah, man.
The crazy white guy.
They followed you out, man. I got hit with beer cans. My girlfriend got her hair pulled.
Oh, man.
They pulled her hair into the crowd, and it ended up being the promoter's mother.
It
was crazy, or one of the promoter's mother. And she's like, "I'm so sorry." I was like, "What?"
Wow.
Like, I'll go out to sell merch. No kidding.
Yeah, right. That's why the guy spit in your mochaccino over there.
Yeah, I'll never go to Dunkin' Donuts.
That's funny, man. So, can you guys tell us, you said you play football. Now, is there anything that you, is there anything that you, picked up from football that, that you use in wrestling today or that, helped you with wrestling today? We'll get into the bad stuff later.
Yeah. It had a lot of good, getting me athletic and getting me into shape and really getting me disciplined. I was on a life schedule, man. I woke up at 5:30 in the morning, had my practices in the morning practice in college, went to my classes all day, and my coach, God bless him, his name is Coach Garrett. He was the kind of dude, he literally walked the hallways, man. He would find your classroom and look in and see if you were in there. If you weren't in there, God help you. You know what I mean? And he instilled not even fear, just respect into us, and that helps me a lot with wrestling. Everybody has to say, make sure you shake everybody's hand, make sure you do this, make sure nobody has to say that to me. You know what I'm saying? I do it the way I am all the time, and that's why some people are like, oh, he walks around in zebra pants and blah 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 blah. How could you take it professionally? But yet, that is who I am, and somehow that's what has made me professional. I've never changed who I was and kind of made my brand be what it is. So, that came from football, me learning that. As far as being an athlete, it's the last thing that helped me because wrestling is all about being fluent and moving and gliding and making everything look so smooth. Football is the complete opposite. I have to take 1,000,000 steps as an offensive lineman from yard to yard. It's 26 steps or something like that. And it's just, if I do that in the ring when I'm running, if I go from turnbuckle to turnbuckle and I hit 25 times, what the hell is he doing? Because now the ring's going the whole time, and no bump makes any sense anymore to you. And it's just kind of I had to adjust from going to saving people's life behind me so they didn't get killed on the field and having to be on the offense all the time to going in the ring and having to pull punches away from not killing people. So it was so hard to do that, and that's why I was a wrestler and a football player, and then as soon as I cut football out completely, that's when the wrestler really turned on and my career took off because I could just devote everything to that, But as far as athletically, it's actually hurt me more than it's helped me. I'm sure it's helped me a lot more than I think, but I probably could, if I would have just wrestled, been a lot better of a wrestler right now of never playing football, but it's helped me a lot. I mean, I don't regret any of it.
Nice. And so you had a little stint where you went to the NFL.
It was going.
How was that experience?
It was a drive. It's kind of like this. It's like indie wrestling, right? Yeah. It's like you're working for the WWE, you're working for TNA, you're working for Ring of Honor, you're trying to work for those things. Yeah. It's the same way at the NFL. So you finish college football, you're getting all these offers, and when I say offers, you're getting nothing. You're getting Nike Pro saying hey, give us $600 and come to a combat training thing, and maybe we'll get your name into something. And it's wow, do I really want to take $600 out of my account and do this or whatever? So it's exactly indie wrestling. Do I do this seminar? Do I make connections with this guy so he puts my name with this person and helps me out there? So I just invested myself into football and found the right people to get me in front of the right people. And my father ended up helping me out with this man that ended up being one of his family members in the long run. And weird ass story. And he got me into a tryout with them. What I mean tryout, it was just hey, how fast is your 40? How many times can you do 225? Pull-ups, this, that, your leaps, your vertical leaps, your this, that, and the third. And it was just you know what? He has 330 pounds. He could do all those things for what we need, and we'll use him as a hitting dummy. So I made it there, but I didn't make it there. It wasn't Mike Orlando, the athlete, the standout athlete. It's like, oh, we got to put him in the NFL. It was more so like, hey, this is what I have to offer, and you're going to use it. And I made my little brand with them, and they kind of just, you know what, we'll give this guy a shot. And by the time I got the shot, I took the shot in the neck and killed myself. So. I got into a little stupid argument with I don't know how many people listen to what anybody says on ESPN, but most of it's garbage. You know what I mean? And a lot of people talk about other people and make no sense of it. And that's kind of what was going on in the NFL. And it was just everybody was in it like an indie wrestler that's never made it but has made it. It's kind of like that. And it's just no matter what you say, you're wrong. No matter what you do, you're wrong. And you're out there to get hit. So if you don't get hit the right way, what do we need you for?
Yeah.
So I had an ego in college, and that just didn't work for me. But you know what? At 25 years old, it was the dumbest thing I could have did, because if I would have just shut up and listened to what I was told, I'd probably have a lot more money in my bank account and probably be able to be a lot better of a wrestler with more money in my pocket, not having to do, because their money wasn't going to be bad, man, just to get hit every single, that wasn't even every day, man. They practiced really twice a week. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I would have to live over there, practice twice a week, once a week in jerseys. And it was just like, hey, you stand there and you do this over here. And like we just stand there and it was like, great job. It's like, okay, great. This is incredible. and that's not to say what they do is easy. I just wasn't one of the guys that mattered. So I didn't have to do everything everybody else was doing. And then when you don't matter and you open your mouth, you become like some of these wrestlers that talk when they shouldn't be talking, and then you see them released the next week, and it's just it sucks, man. You live and you learn. Now, I've never made those mistakes not in wrestling. And I won't make them anymore, you know.
So you know, you were just kind of saying like how much not easier, but like easier it could have been, I guess, in football. And like I just got an alert on my phone saying Brook Lopez is out because he's resting, and like all these basketball players, they'll be resting every like what. That's so much different than the grind you're in from when it comes to the life of being an indie wrestler. Just go into that a little bit.
Yeah, if you take a rest in indie wrestling, bye.
Yeah, exactly.
Forgotten real quick, because there's another dude with long hair and tattoos, or without them, that looks better than you, or can do something better than you, or just that's just the world that wrestling is at its peak right now. Everybody's good. Like, there's no bad wrestlers, and people can shit on whoever they want, but there's no bad guys out there anymore. And like a lot of indie wrestlers are in abundance, and there are some really garbage indie wrestlers out there that shouldn't be considered wrestlers, but then there's a lot that are really good that aren't garbage. And that's where if you disappear for a week and you heal your injury and you lose a booking, well, you just piss somebody off, and you just piss the whole group of fans off that just came to see you, and it's you go tell them you hurt your kneecap and you need to rest it. They're gonna be like, okay, cool, man, what do you got for me? And if you don't got something for them, then bye. We have another dude down the road that we like a lot more than you anyway. Screw you, you're fat. You know what I mean? And like that's what happens, and it's I can't take a break, man. We're just my trainer alone, God bless him, Danny Cage. He doesn't let any of us break, man. At the factory, like we're there 2-3 times a week, and it's just for hours upon hours a day, man. And the stuff there's no break time. Like he puts his stuff online. The man is proud to be like, hey, we don't stop. And like it's like from one ring to the next. But think about it. Like when we get our tryouts, it's gonna be like bang, bang, bang. Like we're gonna be fine. Not saying they're gonna sign us automatically but it's just condition wise, we know what we're doing. And I'm not saying they're the place to go, because I'm sure Pat Buck does his thing at WrestlePro, because I know the Graysons and all them that I've worked with for years and helped. They go to him and they've got millions of times better, and he's got a great program. But you have to go somewhere that's investable, you know, somewhere, is that the right word? Investable?
Yeah, good word. I was going to argue with you.
It's just, you know, you have to invest in what you're doing, and like that's what separates, you know, everybody else. At that point, you know, you've made it. Those guys, they can take their time and say, oh, I'm hurt, I'm going to rest, and this, that, and there. They still have their millions where they can fall back on. Yeah. In the WWE even, there's not a guy making millions that can fall back. Like I was reading today, Cody Rhodes put up a status on Twitter. And I had just met Cody recently, Ring of Honor. He's one of the greatest guys I've ever met in person. And he put up a status and it said, loose knee, check. Lost ID, I believe it said, check. And no room on my flight, check. The life of being an indie wrestler. Or something like that. And then it said, but I'm all smiles. There's something on the bottom. That's Cody Rhodes talking like that. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that's Dusty Rhodes' son. That's Cody Rhodes. Like if he's struggling there's somebody behind him waiting to get that spot. And think about where his mindset is and where he wants to go and what he wants to do. It's so hard, man. So there's no breaks in wrestling. That's the whole truth.
You've been in the ring with Chris Masters,
Yep.
Eddie Edwards, and Dalton Castle. So when you get in the ring with these guys, it's Tito Santana.
Yep. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot. There were some good ones now. When I'm getting put on the spot, I'm not going to remember them off the top of my head.
Tony Nese, Sam Shaw,
EC3. Yeah, EC3. Kenny. Spears Squad.
Kenny.
That was a great match. One of my favorites.
When you get in the ring with them, these guys have either made it to the WWE or TNA. Does that change your mindset? Like, hey, like, I can compete with these guys. I can compete with the guys that are still in WWE now. Right. Does that help? Does that help the confidence up a little bit? Like saying, like, these guys have made it. They made, like, they know what they're doing to get there, and they stayed there for a while. Like Kenny Dicer, he was there for 3 years on the main roster. Yep. Chris Masters from not once,
so many times.
A couple stints. Tito Santana, who's one of the all-time greatest. One of the greatest Intercontinental champions.
Who else, man? There was a lot. Like, I wish I could go to my Facebook. I can't because I don't have anything on there. So I don't even. There were so many. I got a lot of good opportunities.
When you go against all these guys, and like usually, I guess the big name star would beat the indie guy. Do you find that it's harder to get over?
It depends if what's going on. Like, if I'm the guy to put him over, then that's my job, and I got to just do it. You know what I mean? And if that's what your job is, sometimes those matches are booked,
right?
You know, for that guy to get over on somebody and kind of just make a way for himself. And a lot of the, time, as you were asking, does it make me feel more confident? Yes and no. I mean, I've had some matches that, like, afterwards, just like, hey, thanks, brother, high five, and they left, and it was like, okay what? Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you saying? And then maybe the match to me was just like, wow, that was a huge disappointment. And I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. But then I will put people under the bus for good reasons. There were guys like Tony Nese where I've wrestled a bunch of times, and we went from one good match to another good match to another good match to another good match. And then to me, it was like, there was the confidence booster. Because now I'm watching him on Raw. Now I'm wrestling him the next day. Then I'm watching him on Raw. Then I'm wrestling him the next week. Then I'm watching him on Raw. And then he's telling me, hey, these matches are awesome, man. Hey, this is great, man. I'm loving this match. We had one match, man, where he screamed Nice's pieces in a no DQ match, and somebody threw him a bunch of Reese's. And he threw him on the floor and body slammed me onto the Reese's. It was a huge pop. And it was like, where did that come from? And then I screamed, like, O-line, like, offensive line, and, like, went for a move, and the crowd booed so loud. And, like, I just turned and looked at them, and as I turned, he super kicked me so hard in the face. And it was just, like, in the moment, you realize how good those guys are. And now, when I wrestle people, that moment that he took right there, I know how to take, because he took it from me. And it's like, you don't learn in wrestling until you actually learn. You have to learn it for yourself. So those matches have been so good to me to learn from, really good. Kenny's a great guy too. Kenny Dykstra is amazing in ring, out of ring, mentally, body wise. This dude is ripped, man.
Yeah.
When I wrestled him, I stood next to him and I was like, wow, at least I'm a lot bigger than this dude. Then I watched the film back and I was just like, wow, he looks just as big as me, and he was a tiny dude. And like, you think that until you really stand next to him. That guy, he's just as tall as me. He's cut as hell. Man's big, dude.
His release kind of came as like a surprise because 1 week he was like beating Ric Flair. Like the next week,
wasn't there a lot? I mean, I know there is, but I mean, there's a lot that goes on in that.
Yeah,
there was he dated somebody who dated somebody that didn't want him there.
Justin,
right? It's
he
was in the prime of his career. He's definitely over a little bit now, and I think the WWE might be a little interested in him, which they damn well should be, man, because he just lost his job. From what I read online, from doing all these dates for the WWE. So give the man a job.
Yeah.
Do you now, like, kind of like, what's your perspective on, like, you're an independent wrestler, you're working your shows, you're training hard, and when they bring in, like a top guy, someone who's signed or anything, do you really look at the wins and losses, or
no? Is
it just you're just happy for the opportunity?
Yeah. It doesn't matter. Wins and losses in wrestling. If you care about wins and losses in wrestling, you've never been an NCAA champion. Pop for myself. I don't really know. That's not an ego thing to me. My whole thing is I need people invested because I need the right people invested to give me a contract. Those people don't care Mike Orlando, he beat Chris Masters. Hire his ass right now. He beat Chris. You released Chris Masters, and now he's on the Indies, and he's busting his ass to get himself in the right position. Why not say, wow, Chris Masters just lost to Mike Orlando, and he made that kid look like the greatest thing in the world. Let's get Chris Masters back here. Because it happens that way, too.
Yeah.
And, like, you really got to look at it like wins and losses to me, man. And don't get me wrong, I love my titles, and I have at home hanging on my, furnace and everything. Fireplace. There we go. And it's really nice, but it's not. No, it's the wrestler that does all of it.
So walk me through the whole Tough Enough thing.
Oh,
I want to know like wow.
That was a horrible experience. That was like a year and a half ago.
Hogan Page.
What's that?
Hogan Page.
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
like 2 years.
Patrick was in it. Patrick and all of them. And the dude who won that looked like me.
Patrick Clark and
was in it. Patrick Clark was in it. He did good for himself.
The Wookiee. He's still there. He's like the Prince character. Man, it's different.
Yeah, it's different. Okay, so I sent in like.
Oh, Sarah Lee.
I was I came home from practice and like I saw they were doing Tough Enough again. And they had to submit your video now. And I literally was in my football gear. And I did an ice bucket challenge. And I did the ice bucket challenge and was soaking wet and came into my house and saw they were doing it. And for some odd reason in my dumb college mind was like, I'm going to do this video right now. And I put this video like on the windowsill and like went by my steps. Why? I don't know. But the steps were there and I like went in front of them because I lived in the basement at the time. We had an awesome college house. And slick my hair back and put a cutoff on because I wasn't in the shape to keep no shirt on. So, put this cutoff on and I was just like, I'm Mike Orlando and I'm the best, blah, 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 blah. I don't even remember what I said. It's online somewhere. And I was just like, I sent it in and I literally went to the bathroom and was just like, what did I just send? It all hit me and I was just like, I was in the moment at a football practice. I was still amped up. Like, I lived literally a block away from the field. So when everybody else would walk back to the locker room, I just walk right home, take my stuff off, walk right into the shower. So I did this and was just like, what did I just send? And the email was gone. And I was just like, oh my God, it was terrible. I'm going to wait. I'm going to create a new account. I'm going to send an email in a little bit with a new video and do it the right way. Okay, Anthony Cortez Haynes, I don't know if you guys ever heard of him. He used to be in the Dynamos. They were a really awesome indie team that was Mega Mo and Dynamo, and they did awesome segments. They have a great internet program running now, too. He retired from the ring for injuries, but he mentored me a lot in the beginning. He was really good at taking off a lot of places. He called me and was like, you MFer? He's like, blah, 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 blah. What the F is that video, man? That's bull, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm sorry, man. I know I came in from practice. I'm so sorry. I'm an idiot. Da, 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 da. Where the hell did you see my video? And he's just like, on WWE.com right now, you idiot. He's like, and you filmed it with the phone upwards. He's like, the phone is straight up. The whole thing looks like crap. And it's on WWE.com. And I was the first, people, were interested in thing. And it was, right on the bottom. It was me. And I was like, holy shit. And I was like, that's me. Blah, 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 blah. Check my email. There's an email from this guy, DJ something. He, hit me up and was like, hey, we're going to, congratulations, your video's online, and we're going to let you know what the next step is. I'm like, yes, here we go. Blah, blah, blah. I called my mom and was like, oh, blah, I'm out of here. The NFL thing wasn't even happening at the time anymore. Yet at the time. And I think I'm going to WWE. Tough Enough's going to take me there. It's my in. Here we go. No. And then next thing was an interview. And it was a Skype interview with them. And they were like, oh, we're going to interview you, and, we'll do this and that. And then all of a sudden, at the end of the interview, he was just like, okay, well, tell me what you said before about this, that, and the third, but just say it like that, like this. And I'm like, okay. And then I said it like that. And he's like, okay, good, thank you. And then I'm watching Raw the next day. I'm sitting there with my friends. All of a sudden, my face pops up and I start talking. I was like, sitting there. I was like, what in the world? And I'm taking my phone out and I'm trying to record myself talking. And it was what they had said, in the video. Not that they told me what to say. They told me how to say what I was trying to say. Mm-hmm. And then I was really excited. And it progressed to a lot of image, stuff where they did a lot of work with Tough Enough stamps and taking things online. And then I saw everybody get called in And from what I was told, and who knows what is true and not in wrestling, and I don't care because everybody has their own path, but I believe the dude who won was who I was standing with.
So Josh,
Yeah. And I believe
the Wookiee guy.
in good shape, tattooed, long hair, blah, 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 blah. In good shape, long hair, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah. He's in a little bit better shape.
He's a little bit taller than
You
you,
know,
right?
no, about the
No?
same height.
Really?
About the same height. I
He
believe
looks pretty
6'4",
big.
maybe
Okay.
6'4". I'm about 6'3". I'm about 6'4". He's probably about 6'5".
Okay.
And I believe from what I was told that he was picked for that, you know, for whatever reason. And then I kind of just was faded away and not talked about anymore. And that's what happens in wrestling. And just, I wasn't mad about it. I mean, it just sucked because I kind of talked a lot of shit to my parents and was like, I'm out of here we go. Da, da, da. Check this email out. Check this video. Hey, look, Mom on TV. Like, making her watch back the recording on TV and stuff. And then kind of just being like, oh, nothing's happening. And then the NFL thing happening, it was like, wow, I'm really 0 for 2 here.
So the goal is to get to Orlando
Absolutely.
and to be in NXT.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Ring of Honor's great too. I've been helping out there. Whatever, I would train there now too. So
You did Evolve too, right?
yeah, I did Evolve twice. I did them in Florida, and then I did it in New York, Long Island. Yeah, Evolve 50.
So this is my question for you: is you have a great entrance. You come out to the ring. When you wrestled Dalton Castle, did you feel a little upstage because he came out with the boys?
You know who the boys were?
Who are the boys?
The Graysons.
Oh, the Graysons.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
They were the other guys from.
They were WrestlePro. Yeah,
Okay.
The Graysons. Yeah, his entrance is awesome. And it wasn't even just the entrance, man. I have a presence in the ring. You look at me, and there's like a presence, and that's the beauty of me. And then all of a sudden, you look at him, and there's such a presence, and you're like, wow. I don't even know what to do with this guy right now. And like, I go to shake his hand, he reaches in, and then he pops up like a peacock. I had no idea what was coming, so I legit go like this, and like, I popped, and I looked at the crowd, and everybody popped, and I was like, this guy really. Wow, man. And when I hung out with him a little bit at Ring of Honor, just like his entrance at Final Battle, did you see it? Came out in a cart, and the boys were carrying the cart. And I was just sitting in it like
It's like the Charlotte
It was awesome. Dude.
I love when he lost the boys.
Awesome, man.
So
Yeah.
Young and the Bruiser.
The last real man.
That was my riding buddy in the car, Silas Young and Bruiser.
That was awesome, man.
That ride was amazing, man. Those guys are awesome.
That's crazy. That you
Silas
get
Young
to
is so underrated. I don't even think he's underrated anymore. I think he's right on track to being one of the greats that he should be. Bruiser too.
You've been in the ring with Steve Scott.
Yep. It's one of my best friends.
Steve Scott, Selfie.
Yeah.
Selfie
If I say his name on here, he'll probably listen to the couple seconds that I say his name on, and then he'll probably fast forward it on me because he doesn't give a damn.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Oh man, have you ever thought about doing one of those mannequin things with him?
The Madigan Challenge?
Yeah.
That'd be a good idea. He probably
He did that. Yeah, he did one at Jersey Alpha.
Yeah.
He was in the 6th side of suicide thing.
Right.
And he did one with he's getting in everybody's face and stuff. I was like, that's great. And then they kicked him, and he dropped the phone and everything.
That's
like
pretty
that. So, and then you've also been in the ring with Harry Smith.
Yep. That was atrocious. He was so good though. What happened was we had this awesome match designed, and I hate saying things like that, but we really did. We had this awesome match in our head, and we're going over it, and our music hits, and the ring is a little messed up, and we're looking at it, and the ropes are kind of just dangling. Thanks, dude. Ropes are kind of just dangling, and we're like, what in the hell just happened? What's wrong with the ring? And the guy's like, yeah, no big deal. We're in Canada. No big deal. Yeah, they hit the turnbuckle last match and the ring imploded. And and Harry Smith was just like, I've got a career, dude. I am not, no way am I going to do this. So we had to improvise around a ring that could not be used.
Oh my god.
And it was not able to be used. I couldn't even go to the second rope. If I would have hit the second rope, all the ropes would have came down. Wow. So the match was what it was, but it was a great experience and then a great weekend because I actually was with him for 4 days.
Yeah. That was a cool. I thought the match started off cool because he still had his gear on, his vest on. He's in the corner, and you're just going away on him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then you kind of nonchalant, like it gets rid of the vest, and you're like still going like on the attack.
Yeah,
like, that's just awesome.
yeah.
Like,
Try to be
I
that kind of heel,
couldn't.
man.
You do a good job. I mean, there's
Thank you.
there's another thing we talked about. It was when you versed Craven and Big Jim Anderson.
Yep.
Where the show was kind of bare.
Right.
And you're running up and down like the bleachers. You're getting in people's face. You're like, I'm not ready yet. You know. Like
You got to make what you got. You
Yeah,
know what I mean,
I mean-
it's just those people need to be entertained that are still there, and it's just.
I think
it
the
was
best
rough.
part was like the end though. Almost towards the end, where like there's a cat fight going on.
Oh, yes,
And you just like
yes.
pulled up a chair and you're just like,
Just sat and watched.
Yeah, like, and then, like-
my girlfriend's fighting a bunch of women. Absolutely, I'm like, yes, I'm gonna sit here and watch. And then those women beat up my girlfriend, and then my girlfriend beat up those women, and then I'm just like, this is happening while I'm wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, it was pretty cool, man. The match itself was pretty fun. Craven's really good. Jim is really good, and like, it was a really fun time. Even though the crowd was light, I believe that promotion. I never heard of them up until then, but I guess they're trying to make a comeback.
okay.
But I mean, I don't know.
What's it like working with Anna anyway? Do you enjoy like?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. We get along really well, and like we kind of just mesh. You know what I mean? Like what we do in the ring, and it's hard at times, but it's a lot of good too. And like we travel a lot together, which is good. You know, but at the same time, we have a lot of real life issues that we can't carry on in wrestling, and it's just it causes a lot of like friction. But things are good with that. It's different because I'm always on her case. You know what I'm saying? I'm always making her train. I'm always busting her ass after work to get there. It's just, I'm that guy though. You know what I mean? I'm not. I don't know any differently. That's the hard part. Like I'm always the coached out kid. The coach always puts up my ass, making me do stuff. So I'm so used to being like, "What do you mean you're tired? Go to training." And then she'll call me like, "Can you just stand the phone? Man, I'm falling asleep." Like I swear while she's driving, I'm like, "Wow, this is bad. You gotta stop." So.
Now are there like like you say, your ultimate goal is to get to WWE, Ring of Honor. Are there any steps that you like go through? Is there anything that you do that kind of like to get to that place, or is it kind of like I'm gonna just go out here, I'm gonna bust my ass, and just wait for somebody to contact me?
That's not enough. Yeah, that's not enough anymore. Unfortunately, it's like you have to stop everything. It's like you don't have a life anymore. You don't have a real-time girlfriend. You don't go out on dates. You don't do Atlantic City trips with your friends on weekends anymore. And it's like you have to really devote into what you're doing. And that's the only way you're going to go somewhere. You can go wrestle at a place every weekend, I'm sure, and call yourself a wrestler, but nobody will know about it. Or you can literally build your own brand and make it all you do. Like my car, my rims are green. All my seats are all green. The inside of my car has all stickers and pictures of me. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, what a douche. And like, you open up the trunk and I've got all my belts and everything in there, and it's go in my house, my walls are green. My light switches are green. My clothes are always green. I always have green, and green shoes are green. And it's like, you'll never find me not who I am. And people are like, well, what is green to you? Well, in college, and I love my girlfriend, so this is years ago before me. In college, I wore green on the field. So when I went to parties, because we wore blue, I made sure, because I would act out on the field all the time, I would make sure to tell everybody at the party, the guy that wore all the green sleeves and the green glove, that was me. Yeah. So they were like, oh, I know exactly who you are. You were the guy screaming at the top of your lungs doing this, that, because you watched me in the green. So that's why the green carried over with wrestling, and that's why the elite athlete, the green machine, whatever you want to call me, is the same exact person. And that is where the steps come in. I do every seminar I can get my hands on. The Monster Factory calls in Bill DeMott. They call in Les Thatcher, Rip Rogers, all these people to come in. And people will sit there, these veterans, and this isn't the shit on any veteran, but any veteran will sit there and be like, don't spend no $200 to listen to that guy. I'll tell you what he told me 20 years ago. It's the same exact thing. Like, it's not the same thing. Mm-hmm. And, like, people are like, oh, who's Rip Rogers anymore? Rip Rogers walks in, sees one person he likes, like, you know what? I'm going to tell the right person about you. And the next day you get something. And you don't want to invest the $300 to go to that camp because you don't want to think anything's coming out of it, so you don't have to spend the $300. But then you have to look in the mirror and say to yourself, am I in shape? Am I in the best condition I could actually be in? Or do you have an excuse, and that's why you don't want to spend the money? So it's really about losing a shit ton of money, man. Like, you just go on the road, and Bob Evans, man. If you listen to him online, Bob Evans has the greatest marketing strategies on how to make money, and he helps so many people out. And you have to just listen. You can't have a job. Like, you can't work at a ShopRite and work 12 hours a day, go to the gym for 20 minutes, and then get in the car, travel 3 hours, get out of the car for 5 minutes, call a match, go out there, shit the bed, and then go back in the back. I wrestled. You know what I'm saying? Like, no. You know, so you got to do that for a year until you look in the mirror. You're like, I still suck. I still look terrible. You know what I mean? And then you're like, okay, well, now I quit my job. So now I have no job. So I have to live off unemployment for 6 months. And here's $300 a week unemployment. I have a ton of money until you have to pay for rent. So now you have to pay your rent and all these bills and all your supplements and all your dieting food. And then you pay your gas and your tolls. And some of these promoters are like, yeah, we'll give you $50 when you get here. Sorry, kid, the house was light. Here's $20. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, shit, it takes me 18 to get home. So I have $2 to get a McDouble, and there goes my damn diet. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it takes so many years of just effing up everything. And I don't know anything right now. It sounds like this guy fucking thinks, this guy thinks he knows what he's talking about. I don't know anything. But I know something of to where I'm at. I'm very happy at where I'm at. So it's like, you have to invest, man. You can't just say you're doing something. And the same thing went with football. It's just, if you don't really all the time, like if I worked at your ShopRite and I'm wearing a ShopRite hat and an apron to ShopRite, this is nothing against anybody that does this, but you just paid $30 to see me last weekend because you saw me on a local card. You had no idea who I was. Then you went over and bought 2 of my 8x10s and you paid $10 for those and a t-shirt for $20. Yeah. And now I'm cutting your meat at ShopRite, not wearing green, and I'm a normal human being, and then we turn it to the wrestler. And you know what I'm saying? And that's when shit goes wrong, and these people are just like, I just paid $50 to see this dude last week, and he made more money for me than he's making all day here. And it's like, you don't view it that way, but they do. People do. And then all of a sudden, you're wrestling a match, people are like, ShopRite, and you're a joke. Yeah. So I'm not saying you have to quit and do everything like that, but I work a job where you'll have no idea what I'm doing. You'll never see me. I'm behind the scenes. I make cash every day, so that's my income. And then I wrestle to the point where it took me 5 years now that I can make a living off of what I'm doing comfortably at the point I am in my life, where what I have saved. And that is where my wrestling is progressing. I'm buying new ring gear every month. I'm doing new boots every 6 months. What the fuck am I buying so many boots for? It's like, because I need them. Yeah. You know what I mean? Now I have so many of these different arsenals, kick pads, all this stuff. So when my tryouts do come for any of these things, and they're like, you know what, man? If you had black boots and no kick pads, we might have actually been more interested. Hold up thought. I have them in the bag. You know what I mean? And people don't want to think that's the stuff that matters. When you become undeniable and you're just like, can I carry the guardrails in for you? I bring a honor. And you carry the guardrails in, and all of a sudden, and this is what happened to me, I'm just making a point. But you carry the guardrails in, and all of a sudden Kevin Kelly's like, what is the size of that dude's arms carrying the damn guardrails? And he comes over to me and is like, hey, man, I want you being a pull-apart, later on in the show tonight. Now you're on pay-per-view doing a pull-apart as an indie wrestler. Now all these people are seeing you, and who the hell is that guy? Then you get a call for Future of Honor or something. I'm not saying I know anybody got that, but you do the Future of Honor thing. Now that goes online. And you do the Future of Honor, and all these thousands of Ring of Honor fans on ringofhonor.com see you. Just because you carried a guardrail in. You don't want to carry that guardrail, you're not going to go anywhere. It's really, you just have to sacrifice. I mean, no money that weekend. No money. It's like I lost 3 days of pay at work and didn't wrestle a single match until the Future of Honor match. But how many people, like, my father or whatever, would be like, hey, man, 3 days without work? What are you do with your life? What's wrong with you? How are you going to support yourself? And it's like, well, you know what? How am I going to support myself? I've got all the action figures from when I was a kid over there on eBay. Mm-hmm. So those are going to sell next week, and I'll have that money in my PayPal account. Plus, I sold 2 T-shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees, so that'll be in there. And it's like, that literally is my life. And if you can't accept that life, then you're not going to go anywhere. You know what I mean?
Kind of remind me of like Mikey Ripwreck. He set up the ring, and the next thing you know, he's been champions of Foley.
That's a shit, man. And people are just like, these egos are ridiculous, man. And I'm not shitting on anybody, but like, I'm not building no ring. I'm so-and-so, so-and-so. It's like, okay, man, so we'll wait 35 minutes. Every one of our matches get cut 5 minutes just because somebody doesn't want to pick up a beam. That's good stuff. No problem. Yeah. Nice ego at the door. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know how to check it. And that was my problem with the NFL. But the difference between the NFL and this is indie wrestling has no NFL sitting there kicking people in the ass when they act out, and that's on the wrestlers. And unfortunately, with the way things are in the world, if somebody kicks you in the ass, they can get a lawyer in there and sue the person. So how do you handle things anymore that way? So you can't. So it kind of comes to also where it's a respect thing, and I have the respect that's needed, I feel, and if I don't, I wish someone would tell me and kind of talk to me about it, because I feel like I'm humble enough to understand what's good and what's bad, But at the same time, I never stand in a locker room. Like the NFL thing, man, it took me like a good 2 years to talk about that to people. And like, I will never stand there and be like, I'm a professional athlete, you're a fake athlete. Da, 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 da. And I can sit there and pull out all my credentials and be like, and here's this, and Chris Jericho that shit on somebody. And like, if you do that, that's when you become an egomaniac moron that if you are in the right place carrying a guard around, Kevin Kelly says, hey man, who's that guy with the biceps over there? I like him. Let's use him. Don't use him. He's a dick. Yeah. And you gotta stay away from him. Let him carry the guardrails, man. He's just gonna cause a headache on your show. Okay, no problem. But that's how it works, you know what I mean? It's a crazy world, man. It really is. It's a really weird business. You just have to keep your head down, but your shoulders up, so you are proud of yourself, but you're not too proud, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, because it's always funny, because I always see, like, it's always a good thing, like the way you're talking, like, basically it's like you're humble, basically.
Yeah, I try to be. I'm sure I come off as different. Like, my character is huge, man. Like, who I play, you know?
Yeah, you can only play girl,
stuff like I don't shut up, and I just keep talking about myself while she's standing there, and I'm saying nothing about her, just talking about me, and it's like, wow, this guy.
It's definitely, and it's always good, like, when you see stuff like that, like we watch Wrestle Pro, we watch, like, Anthony Bowens, and like, Anthony Bowens is, like, Wrestle Pro right now. Him, Dan, all those guys, and it's like, we love things like when we see like he's on WWE and he's like carrying Charlotte to the ring, and it's probably like out of our friends, we're the only ones who know who he is.
Chris Payne on NXT.
Chris Payne on NXT, stuff like that. Like when we see you guys like wrestling, then it's like we see you guys on TV. It's like
man,
we really like pulling for you guys.
We hope you make it, man. Like you guys don't realize that even like things like this. Like I was thinking on the way here, like who the F am I to be called into your studio to do a podcast? You know what I'm saying? Like, as I'm driving here, it's like I don't know how many it was going to be. It's like these three guys are interested enough to talk to me on their time where you could be working, making your money, doing what you want to do. You want to talk about what I am doing with myself. Who in the world wouldn't take advantage of that? Do you get what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if 5 people listen or 5,000 people listen. If someone wants to invest into what you have to say, like if you don't take the initiative to actually sit there and learn what they care about and what's going on, then you're never going to go nowhere, man. It starts somewhere. It's like a totem pole. And if you step on these people on the way up, when you come back down, and believe me, I've come back down, dude. I saw the same people. I ran into Moose, and he was just like, you know what I mean? And it was just like, wow, you wouldn't believe it. Like, you know, and just, then he looks at me, and he's like, hey, man, stop wearing zebra pants everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's hysterical, man. But thank you. I try to be humble, and I try to be, and we really do appreciate it. Like, you guys don't realize when you share a photo, 3 people just share a photo of us being on TV, and 90% of the world had no idea that Charlotte came out on that damn thing. And everybody knew who the hell carried her on the thing. You know what I'm saying? It was like, oh yeah, Charlotte came out on the thing, but Cody from the Monster Factory was there. And
we like texting each other like back and forth, like, is that Anthony Bowens? I'm like, I didn't see it first.
I think we were the first ones that
I was supposed to wrestle on that Friday. Really? Yeah, it was supposed to be me, him, and David Starr. And he got his face smashed and concussed, and it was a shame. Yeah, it really was.
To me, like you were saying before, like there's no bad indie wrestlers. And,
right.
There's a couple people that I kind of question still.
Which are noticeable.
Yeah, but for the most part, the talent that I've seen come out of WrestlePro has been pinpoint accurate.
Solid.
And that, to me, that you can go to a couple shows with talented people on them. Mm-hmm. And for me, those matches kind of stand out, even though they're still, like, they'll wrestle each other and it'll still be a great match.
Absolutely.
And they'll wrestle somebody like Grado, they have a guy CPA.
Yeah,
and he wrestled Grado. And I was like, man, and my 2 friends, they come with me, not these guys, my 2 friends, they don't like wrestling at all. And they just like CPA and Habib. We were telling Habib this last week. And basically, like, they saw Grado. They fell in love with him. And I was just like, and they pulled off a great match with Grado.
Yeah.
Like, he pulled up a great match. Hornswoggle was the referee. And I was like, wow, like, even though there was no scientific wrestling, there was no, they just had
a story.
It wasn't like 5-star match by any point, but it was the way they present their matches. It was just, it was like, wow, this is awesome. It was awesome. And that, to me, like that, and even if when they do have like a 5-star match, like Bowens and Anthony Wayward,
right?
Like that, to me, it was like, man, they can go.
Right.
Like, they can wrestle each other. And, as a fan, like, man, these guys are on top of it. So, I mean, do you think maybe, like, would you try to get into like one of those matches, like Wrestle Pro, or
absolutely?
Or like,
I'm waiting for them to come. I would love to work there.
Or,
I've reached out to
Jersey
them
All Pro.
Yep. I don't know if they were going to continue to run. They ran into some things a couple months ago.
With Sandy and stuff like that.
And I didn't know if that was going to continue, and I haven't had a chance to really reach out with them because every date I've been booked on anyway, then at least try to talk to them.
I'm really happy because Kyle Smiley.
Yeah.
I feel like now he's finally getting to the right places.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's in the bigger shows now. I think he's in a bigger
Smiley's
spot.
Awesome.
Yeah, and he's a great dude.
Yep.
So I'm just awesome just to see people like I know, like progressing in the right direction, like finally getting to, because he wrestled for UWA Elite, Jersey Championship Wrestling, that Game Changer.
Yeah,
you were there too.
Yeah, yes, yeah. That was in the restaurant.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and it's just crazy to see how most of those guys just finally got, when I used to go to Jersey All Pro and I saw like Luke Harper and I'm like, man, these guys are never going to make it, and then all of a sudden Brody Lee is with the Wyatt family or Black Machismo was Jay Lethal just a couple months ago, or Samoa Joe. I mean, I saw him in Jersey All Pro, and then the next week he's just like beating Christopher Daniels' head in with and AJ Styles and carrying it. So, for me, it's just like, wow, I get to see the next evolution of wrestling.
Absolutely.
And I started to see that 10 years ago, and I'm happy now that people are finally getting their break.
That's the best part of it, is that it's like, we saw these guys like, when they first started, like, now look at these guys now.
Right.
Like, we're watching them on WWE.
Yep.
And it's like, we know who these guys are. And we're like,
know the whole history.
Crazy.
And for me, like, when I look at, like, who do I want to be a guest on the show? Because we've had, like, Monster Mac, Delroy, Habib from the Car Wash. To me, it's like people who I think are going to break out. And that's those.
Delroy's awesome, man. So talented.
He's a good dude too.
He's a good dude.
And so that's like, for me, it's just kind of like, it's fun in a challenging way, because like some people are like, we don't know this podcast, but we're keeping on our grind. It's just people who we want to see progress, people who I think have the greater stakes in becoming a WWE or TNA superstar.
So have you had anything like come through the pipeline, or have you had any more like action through like Ring of Honor, or anything that you could speak about, I should say, since Tough Enough?
Yes.
You can. That's good. Yeah, no, yes or no is good enough. That's all you want to know.
Thank God.
Yeah,
after a lot of work. Just everything is great. That's really the only answer. Everything on every end is just so awesome right now, honestly.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, it's just, thank God, man. But it's a bloom period. It's a time for indie wrestling. It's a time for people to get a chance. Like, I don't know if you guys heard. Did you guys hear some crazy stuff that, like, they might be putting indie wrestling on the network?
Yeah. They were saying they might raise the price too.
It's for $15. You can watch any indie wrestling show on the network.
And then they were saying they might lower it just if you just want to watch the pay-per-views.
Right.
It'd be like $5 if you want to watch the pay-per-views.
Like, can you imagine that? Like the exposure. Like,
I
know. Not need
that's the only thing on my TV.
One day.
I know.
It's like, you know what, guys? For watching Evolve tonight, you could find Matt Riddle, and then all of a sudden watch Matt Riddle in this place, that place, this place, that place, and it's like, dude, that's that's important.
What about the UK tournament? Because that's just open. And the Cruiserweight Classic too, just kind of, which I had actually something too about that, because like you said, you were 6'4", like 270.
Yep.
And you throw a drop kick.
Or Karana, star, 450, whatever you need.
How do you not like die? Because you look like you could just, because you have been in the ring with Tony's, but like anyone like Rich Swann, Lince Dorado, DJZ.
Yep.
I mean, man, like, how do you go? Like, it kind of reminds me of the Car for Holly when you just throw that drop kick a little bit, because he was a pretty bold, like, pretty big cussy guy.
Right.
Broad guy, and I'm like, man, you should just throw that with ease.
I just, did you happen to see CCW this past weekend? I actually did something I've never done to anybody, and I, like, did like a tope over the top to
Yeah,
the outside, and like I'm
yeah.
275, and like I didn't touch the ropes, nothing.
Oh my
Just flipped onto all these people, and then I almost landed on my feet, even so. And like to myself, what it is honestly is it's a million training sessions a week, dude. I sit in the gym for like 2.5 hours shoot, honestly, and then I train for at least 3 hours almost every day somewhere, whether it is at CCW or Ring of Honor or Monster Factory. It's like I'm always going, and that's why I only work in the morning. I work early as hell. I'm out early, and then I literally train all day, all night. Like I said, after this, I'm heading out right to training from here, and it's like, well, who the hell's going to stay open for you? It's like, they stay open. You know what I mean? It's literally how it works. The door's open. I train myself sometimes, and it's just cardio and blowing myself up. And now I've been dieting for 2 months, and I've lost about 10 pounds. And people are like, oh, that's nothing in 2 months. But I've done no different, like, weight drop for a reason, because I wanted to stay big but be as lean as possible. Now I'm 270 pounds, and like I look in the mirror and I'm like, what am I looking at? Like, now that I'm putting myself over, it's like I'm actually in shape now. This is how I'm supposed to look, you know what I mean? And now I go for a moonsault. When I was 280, I do a moonsault and I was like, okay, here we go. Boom. And it would look decent. It looked pretty good. It was like I never had control over it, though. Like, I'd kind of land and I would hit the guy safely, because thank God it would happen that way. But now when I go and I'm up there, I'm about to go, I'm like, my abdomen's like tighter and stuff, and I go for it. Like, I could feel the torque of my body, and I could feel everything I'm doing. And it's like a weird thing unless I guess you experience it. And now it's like, I implore the WWE I dare them to put those guys in the ring with me.
Yeah.
Honest to God, man, because I will take them and gorilla press them higher than any of them, and then on the way down we'll drop kick them. I swear to God, man, like that is what it is, and it's not a nasty challenge. They should have that cruise with no weight limit, man.
Yeah.
Forget that 205 thing. Let's rock some heavyweights
Sounds like
while
the
everybody else is
exhibition.
doing.
Yeah,
Man.
no
While everybody
weight
else is
limit.
doing this. This heavyweight stuff, let me show them what heavyweights really should and could be doing. Like when I wrestled Nice, we did a spot in one of our matches where we literally repeated each other. Everything we did, because elite athlete, premier athlete. So he did this springboard moonsault gimmick. I did some springboard moonsault gimmick. He ducked some line, hit off. I ducked some line, hit off. And it was just like the crowd just got it. And then all of a sudden he went to pick me up and struggled, and I went to pick him up and just like whoosh. And that was the pop. You know what I mean? It was just, he's smart as hell though. But yeah, I try to be different with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what was it like going overseas to wrestle? And you have a title in overseas, don't you?
No.
Oh, I thought you did.
No. Just here the titles.
Oh.
But I did go over. I went to Canada. That was the furthest I went, and it's different. Canada's different than here. You know what I mean?
Tell us about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like their way of thinking is different. They're very heart oriented. They want that style of wrestling, and it was interesting to say the least. Yeah, very easy, different.
The crowd is like totally different.
Totally different. So I haven't been out there enough yet. I did a tour out there in Nova Scotia, and I was there for too long. And so not that it was a bad tour, it was just too long. And so I didn't know what I was doing out there. It was rough. Fun though.
All right. So on that note, I think we're gonna wrap down. You have
All right.
any shows that are coming up that you want to plug?
Wow, no, Christmas. We got Christmas coming up this weekend. If this is airing next week, I'm letting everybody know they can feed me more soon. Stay tuned for that. And that'll be posted online. And there's just, check me out on Facebook, /Elite Orlando, Facebook.com, or at The Big Orlando, at any other Instagram, Twitter, whatever you have, and then you can contact me on there. And, I mean, as far as show goes, Anna is the mind behind all that, thank God, and she puts all that stuff out there for me to see.
You can plug her stuff.
Yeah, she's, wow, you're putting me on the spot.
So,
I don't know. It's probably on your page, right?
Yeah,
somewhere.
I don't know. But she does it on my page as well. She'll
Yeah.
tag me in it, and you'll see everything posted on there.
Great.
And, yeah, so...
You have,
absolutely, guys.
Pro
I
Wrestling-
appreciate you guys
you have a
having
Pro
me.
Wrestling Tees
I
page?
do. ProWrestlingTees.com. Look at you saving my
Pro
ProWrestlingTees.com /Elite Athlete.
That
And I
fuck
have a
money.
new shirt right now, too.
Nice.
I have like a Terminator-esque type of thing. Really, really cool. Green Machine. You got it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I appreciate you guys having me too, man. Really appreciate
Oh
it.
yeah, thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for taking the time out.
Yeah, this was good. I enjoyed talking. You got invested a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So subscribe to this channel. Check us out on Wrestling IQ 101, and keep an eye out for the Green Machine
Everywhere.
Canada.